welcome back to the EV Life podcast. I'm your host, Crystal.
I'm Hannah Neal.
And in today's episode, I chat with Narinder Ghuman, who is the co-founder of Blossom EV.
Yeah, so Blossom EV is a really interesting concept. I had the chance to meet Narinder a few months ago, and what caught my eye is the sign that said the Airbnb of EV Charging. So that's kind of what their tagline is right now, and it's a really interesting concept that we haven't seen much of in Alberta or Canada. So we got to learn more about what that is and how the platform works, and
Yeah, he shares the unique story of how Blossom EV kind of came to be out of just a university project. And it's really interesting to see how this has sort of grown and how it continues to grow. So I hope you'll enjoy my interview with Narinder. And as always, if you have thoughts on this episode or any of our podcast episodes, you can chat with both Hannah Neal and I in the EV Life group on the AMA mobile app. Enjoy. Hi, Narinder. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm good. And I'm really excited to hear more about Blossom EV. So can you share with our listeners a little bit about Blossom and how it came to be and where your interest in EVs kind of started?
For sure. So Blossom EV, we've been calling ourselves like the Airbnb of EV charging. And what that does is it really helps folks understand what we do, which is we leverage idle EV chargers that are, at folks' homes. So if you have a charger at your home or even at your business, and you want to you want some support, making some passive income to pay off the installation of that charger, you can put your charger on our network and make it available to EV owners who are looking, for a place to charge their vehicles.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting concept because there are still a lot of charging deserts across Canada where there isn't public charging infrastructure. So a really unique concept. When did Blossom EV launch?
We launched in 2020, I believe, but the idea started a year earlier. So, I'm what do they call us? They call me a mature student. So I'm working on my bachelor's at BCIT here in Vancouver, and in one of my classes, our assignments was to come up with an idea, innovative idea to support clean tech. And somewhere along the way, this idea popped into my head of like, hey, why are we building more infrastructure when there's still a lot of underutilized infrastructure out there that we can leverage? And, I quickly put down a couple of ideas on a piece of paper. This was a group project. I went to my group, and if you remember from your days, in school, that when you're in a group, when someone comes up with an idea, they're like, "Yeah, that's the best idea ever. Let's do it."
Yeah.
Right?
We're usually just happy that someone's, doing the work.
You got it exactly, and and then one thing led to another, and we submitted our homework, came back. My prof at the time, he said, he gave us a very good mark. I think it was probably one of the best marks I've ever had. And he said, "This has legs. I would run with it." And the rest is kind of history, because I was like, oh, okay, it's interesting. I talked to my group and I said, is anyone interested in doing this? And no one was really interested. So I kept the idea, and about a month later, I met my friend, a longtime friend, Kevin Brett, for just a couple of beers to catch up. So I proposed the idea to Kevin, and now Kevin is our CEO and co-founder, and we've been working hard on it since 2020, I believe I was saying, and it's been an amazing journey, that's for sure.
What does the current network look like? Where are the chargers?
the network is live and it's growing every day. Um, you can get, you can find a charger all the way from, Hawaii to South Carolina and all the way down to Houston. And then up here in Canada, we have two in Calgary. I believe we have one in Edmonton also, and there's about half a dozen in BC right now. A lot of the folks that are providing their chargers for other EV drivers are, EV owners themselves. And their, you know, their beliefs align with us on this, that we want to help support EV adoption. We want to get people comfortable and used to being able to go like wherever their destination is without worrying about that they're going to be stuck somewhere, as you said, like in a charging desert.
So you mentioned that you all refer to Blossom EV kind of as like the Airbnb for EV charging.
Yeah.
So can you walk us through how the platform works? And is it a similar concept of, if I'm a host, I can make my chargers available for certain dates and times, and likewise, if I'm looking for charging, I can book that?
You got it. Literally exactly like that. It's super simple. One of our goals was to not make it difficult for folks to sign up. We wanted to align with other, share economy products out there, like Airbnb, like Viber, or even like Uber and Lyft, where it was very natural. You knew that, okay, these are the steps I need to take, and in our case, you you go to our website, blossomev.com. You can sign up right there. It's absolutely free to be a host and a guest. It'll ask you a couple of questions. What kind of charger do you have? What kind of dongle is it at the end? What times would you like the charger to be available? How much would you like to charge? So there's dynamic pricing that's set by the host. And
Okay, that was going to be my next question, is how is the pricing set? So with Airbnb, the hosts can basically, list their accommodation for whatever price they'd like. Is it very similar on Blossom EV?
yes, and what that does is it allows the host to leverage their location. So imagine you are going from Calgary to Banff. And most of the long way you'll find a bank of chargers, either Tesla chargers or ChargePoint, Flow, any of the big players. However, if you get to a point where there isn't a charger available, except there's a host there, a Blossom EV host, they have the opportunity to charge maybe a little bit more because there isn't any competition in the area. Now, imagine if you're going from Calgary to Edmonton. And there's lots of chargers, say, available, or you're looking for a charger downtown Calgary, then you have to be a bit more competitive.
So, you are leveraging charging infrastructure at people's homes or businesses. So there is that question around security. So what measures are in place if I am interested in booking a charging at someone's home to ensure that I'll be safe ultimately?
Sure. So we do get this a lot, and one of the things I always start off with is that, say I said to you, in 5 years, say we are now in like I don't know, 2013, and I say to you, in the future, someone's going to be staying in that spare bedroom that you have, and they're going to pay you money. Or you're going to get into a stranger's car and they're going to drive you to your event. You'd be like, you're bananas. There's no way that's going to happen. I would never let a stranger stay in my place, right? And here we
Right.
are today in 2024. Now, that is, that mind shift has happened. folks understand that. Now, the next step here is, as a host, what you want to do is you want to make, like for any guest, you want to make your place, welcome. So you want to have good lighting. You want to have maybe, a driveway that you've parked your car on the side of the road, so there's space for them to pull in. You want to make sure that the charger's easily visible. Little things like that. And also on the side of the guest, you will do your due diligence, right? You will have an opportunity to book the charger, which means you don't show up and now all the chargers are used or damaged, or you're like, oh, jeepers, do I need to bring cash with me? Because with Blossom EV, you never use cash. It's all done transactionally through our app, and you will book the charger. Now, when you're booking the charger, what you are doing is you're getting to know the host also, because you'll be in communication with them, and that'll build that trust. Because at the end of the day, that's what it really comes down to, is you both have a mutual goal. You want to charge your car. They want to earn a passive income and support EV adoption.
So, if I were interested in becoming a host, what requirements would I need to meet in order to list my charging?
It depends on where you're located. Generally, the main things that we would like to see is, can your driveway support another vehicle coming in, and where is the charger? We've had potential hosts reach out to us and say, hey, you know what? My charger is in my garage and I don't feel comfortable leaving my garage open while someone's charging their vehicle. Absolutely. It always comes down to your trust level. Having said that, because you can decide when folks can use your charger, you can say, I'm going to be mowing the lawn on Saturday, probably around 1 o'clock, and I'll make my charger available from 1 to 3. And then, and that satisfies your comfort level, and the folks can come and charge. The other thing we look at is the charger have the correct dongles. Right now, fortunately, as we were talking before the podcast, it's kind of like when phones first came out, you had to have a basket full of cables or
Yeah.
a Tupperware container because each of the connectors were different. However, now we're getting to that point where it's standardized. Same thing with EV charging. The dongles are getting to the point where they'll be standardized and it won't be an issue. But today it is still a little bit. So that's something we ask hosts to be also, cognizant about.
Yeah, and it's my understanding too, you don't always have to accept a request if you are a host and someone's requesting to use your charger, or vice versa. If you're looking for charging and you don't feel comfortable with the host that you've interacted with, you don't have to, you can just always terminate your request.
You got it. 100%. Absolutely. It is up to the host at the end of the day if they would like someone to use their infrastructure, their charger, and it's up to the guest to see, do they feel comfortable going to that place and using the charger. I've booked an Airbnb before, and then I've wound up going on Google and seeing that that's really, my comfort level's not where it was when I booked it, and I changed my mind. Exactly the same thing here. You can change your mind. Having said that, we always encourage our guests and hosts to do that early instead of
Right.
half an hour before a guest is to show up, right?
Be courteous.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's super important that just having that communication channel open.
So, what's your vision for the future of Blossom EV?
I think our main goal is to just keep on moving towards that goal of, making it easy for folks to, move into the EV space, like make EV adoption simple. There's a lot of information out there that is, that causes people anxiety. And what I mean by anxiety is, am I going to get stuck somewhere? Am I going to be, going from Calgary to Banff and then
Right.
find out that my car, because it's cold out and the defrosters were on and the heat's on,
Yeah.
that the battery's drained now. So those we're trying to alleviate those concerns. We are also looking at, partnering with the other networks. We're really passionate about helping folks enjoy their journey and have it be seamless. We keep our phones with us. We don't even think twice about it when we're charging them. Exact same thing with the vehicles.
Well, Narinder, I thank you so much for taking some time and coming to chat with us on the podcast. And we'll have some links in our show description for our listeners to easily find you.
Thank you very much. And it was a pleasure talking to you. And, we're super excited about this. And I think it's so important that folks understand that there's a lot of options out there.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the EV Life podcast. Make sure that you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. And if you'd like to join the conversation, you can always do so in the EV Life group on the AMA mobile app. We'll talk to you in the next episode.